Hi everyone. Today I wanted to give you a peek into my remodeled studio. I began this remodel in November of 2014 and I kicked it off by having a giant craft sale. So I took a first pass at things that I knew I wasn't using anymore, and I invited some friends over, greeted them at the door with a glass of champagne, gave them a shopping bag, and let them pick up some crafty steals. I called it my 5 4 3 2 1 sale because everything was $5, $4, $3, $2, or $1. And even at those prices, I sold $1,700 worth of crafty goodies. And that is how I remodeled my studio. So let me walk you through my room. This is the view from the door, and as you can see, there's a lot of light in there. It's much lighter than it was before. Just so you can compare and contrast, here's the before, and here's the after. As you move into the room, you'll see my new computer desk, which was $60 at IKEA. It's a student desk, really. It's a Mickey. It just has 2 pen drawers and cord management in the back. It's white. It's very narrow. These were the dimensions that I chose after living with tape on the wall because I knew that I wanted my card catalog I'd refinished to go along that wall. So I knew exactly how much space I had for a desk, and IKEA had a desk for me. I love being able to shop by dimensions. In front of the desk on the left, there is an upholstered bench that also has storage inside. This is known as Cat Lounging Station number 3. Cat Lounging Station number 2, which is handmade by my sister out of a fleece that was designed to pull my filing cabinets and my card catalog together, sits on top of an Elfa refrigerator cart, which is a very sturdy rolling cart with 3 drawers, and it holds all my shipping supplies. Behind my desk is a piece of furniture that my brother-in-law found for me at an antique store in Rockdale, Texas called Tommy's Antiques. This is the piece of furniture that everyone in the room loves, and I'm going to show you that up close later. And then over to the right is, of course, my art surface, and you can see my tripod on the desk. It's always on the desk, and I'll talk about that later. On the left wall, as you walk in, is my pride and joy. This is a card catalog that I lovingly refinished with C.C. Caldwell's Santa Fe turquoise chalk paint and her high endurance wax finish. I enjoyed this project so much. It's the first piece of furniture I've ever refinished in my life, and this thing is absolutely beautiful. Now you can see here that the top is not finished. I have a top built. It didn't come with the top, and I'm going to be doing a special treatment for the top that I'll reveal later, but unfortunately some of the materials are not available to me right now. On top of the card catalog, so that I can see it from my computer, is my little TV. This is off 90% of the time, but when it's on, it is on the Food Network. I have a policy that I never watch the news. And then behind that is my zombie sign that says Eat Locals, of course. On the left is a card display rack from Displays to Go. There'll be a link on my blog post about this. And when I was going through my closet and trying to organize and sort things, I noticed that I had boxes and boxes and boxes of cards that never saw the light of day. So I got rid of everything except what will fit in this card rack, and these are cards that I actually now use and send every day. So I really recommend displaying your cards to yourself so that you send them, because the reason we're doing this craft is so that we can send people cards and uplift them. So I recommend this. It was a great investment. On the wall to the right of my computer desk, you'll see my punch shelves. These are made by a company called Offie, and I bought them from Design Public, which is a cool place that showcases independent designers' work. They are so attractive. They're funky, they're handmade, and so they're a little imperfect. And I just love them. They're kind of a modern element in between these 2 antique pieces of furniture that I have. This is the view from my craft desk across my office desk to the card catalog. You can get a better look at cat lounging station number 1 from this angle, and you can see a little peek into how I have my closet organized. I do have a pretty generous closet in this teeny tiny room. Here is cat lounging station number 1 in use by Maddie, who loves it. She says, "Thank you, Aunt Cynthia, for making me cat lounging station number 1. Here is cat lounging station number 2, which is behind me when I work and frequently contains 2 cats. This is Splotchy. Super excited that he has cat lounging station number 2 all to himself today, which is pretty rare. This also will have a cushion that matches cat lounging station number 1 as soon as I can convince my sister to make it. Here's the view if I'm sitting at my desk towards the door, and you can see my Billy bookcases from IKEA that have been configured by me to be the height of the supplies that I needed them to accommodate. These bookcases were the one thing that I did not change when I was remodeling my room. They're the only constant in here. And that's because they were so incredibly functional and they hold so much. I made the decision when I was remodeling this room that what I wanted to see was stamps, ink, and paper. And so that guided my design principle because all I can do is use what I see. I rarely use anything that's in a drawer. The little inbox and pen cubby on my desk are poppin'. You can get those in any color, and I wanted that bright orange since I have so much turquoise in the room. And I just love them. Sitting in my inbox right now is the little book that I use to track cards that I need to send and cards that I've sent, and I'll link you to a post about that. Now looking towards my work surface, you can see on the right I have what I call the wall of ink. And I have 2 different ink storage solutions. I have 2 of the Stampin' Storage combo holders that hold ink pad, refill, and marker. And then hanging on the wall, because I needed 2 more in that space, are 2 organizers from Organize More that hold an ink pad and a refill. Below that to the right, you can see another camera mount. Sometimes I am filming from different angles, and so I have 2 camera mounts. My desk, this is how my desk looks all the time now. Now that everything in my room has a place, my desk is always clean. When I'm done prepping for a class, it's very easy for me to put things where they belong instead of into a big pile, which is what I was doing before when my room was just terrible. There are only a few things that I keep on my desk all the time. One of them's my Misty, and that's sitting on a pad of Stampin' Up! Grid paper, and below that is a big Teflon craft sheet that I got from Amazon. It's actually an oven liner. And then on the left, you'll see some other items like a nail polish holder that holds all my stamp cleaners and my adhesive that I use every day, which is Tombow Mono Multi, and a Pico embellisher and crystal effects, just things that I'm constantly using. In front of that is my baby wipe dispenser, and next to that is my label maker, and that is all I will ever allow to be on my desk when I'm not working. Here's another shot from my desk. This chair that I bought is incredible. I got it from Cisco Eagle. I actually have 2 of them. A shorter size for my office computer because my desk is a little bit shorter, and then this taller one with a foot ring for my stamping table. I cannot recommend these enough. Super comfortable. Here's a close-up of the label maker, the wipes dispenser, and the little spray bottle nail polish holder that I have in the corner of my desk. Here's a better shot of the wall of ink, which is also graced with beautiful handmade cards from friends. I love when people send me mail, and I like to display it as much as I can. Here's a better shot at my video setup. It's easy for me to video right in front of the window, so I just leave that tripod there. Here's a shot of the shelves. You can see I have my Touch Twin markers, my Copic markers. I have some beautiful Zegan Kodomo stamps up on the top shelf. That seems to be what people gravitate to when they come into the room. Here you can see I have a couple of crates up on the top of my bookcase. The one on the right contains all my framelits. Then I have 2 that contain embossing folders. Here you can see little racks that I bought from a scrapbook store that was closing that I have more cards from friends and a few of my cards displayed in. Down on some of the lower shelves, I have several bins that have on the right hand side camera peripherals. I have some pens And I have a bigger crate that has some machines that I use a lot, like my laminator, etc. On the right, by the door, I do not have a door in my room. I took it off so I could fit maximum bookcases in there. I have a couple of crates of things that I like to give away. These are extra stamp sets and things that I can give to my team or to blog readers. And so those contain kind of a hodgepodge. That's probably the only hodgepodge in the room now. Above that, I have all my platforms and cutting plates for my Big Shot. And on the top shelf, I have my cutters and my Score Buddy stored vertically right next to a tower of stamp sets. On the bottom shelf on the left, I have my texture boutiques. I have specialty plastics like acetate, shrinky dinks, and I also have tall papers that I use like watercolor paper. And on the right are all the book worshipers, avert your eyes. These are all the books that I like to tear up and use in my art projects. Sorry, y'all. Now, some people have asked me about the little dots on my stamp sets, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. If a set is current, it gets a red sticker. That way, visually, when I'm looking at my shelves, I can pick out what I can use in my classes. The rest of the stamp sets that are retired are obviously just for me, but I don't typically teach with those. A yellow dot means it's in a current catalog year mini catalog. So it might be the current one, it might be the one previous. I don't take the sticker off entirely because those might move into the new catalog when it comes out. So I leave them yellow until I find out. Here's one of the most genius ideas. This was from my sister, and it was to put mirrors on the back of my closet door. Now here's what the back of my closet doors looked like before. I had Elfa racks, over the door racks, and I put my paper in them, and it just looked like the devil. So she said, why not put mirrors there so when you're sitting at your desk, you can see out the window? This has made such a huge change in how the room looks and feels, and I love being able to see birds out my window while I'm working. Here's a shot from another angle where you can sort of see the back of my computer desk and, of course, the card catalog. Now, if you open the door, the paper storage racks that I had on the front are now on the inside of the door. And this is where I keep my neutral cardstock. These are big racks. And since I use a lot of crumb cake, a lot of white, a lot of gray, I filled these racks up with those, as well as specialty papers like watercolor paper, adhesive sheets, and silver and gold paper. These are super useful, and I will provide a link to them. Now, if you open the closet, this is what you see. Here's what the closet looked like before. I think the term for that is hot mess. But I got rid of a ton of stuff, and now it's super organized. I have retired wood-mounted stamps on the top shelf. On the second shelf, I have some cling stamps and some photopolymer stamps that are retired. I do have a few current sets in there. And the shelf is also deep enough for me to store both of my Big Shots there. The shelf below that contains my embossing powders and various little things that I use a lot, like little wood elements, some bags for my classes, etc. The shelf below that has dies, and on the floor are some colored cardstocks that are either retired or I don't use as much in leather crates that my husband built casters for. So I don't have to drag those big heavy things out. I can wheel them out and then I can vacuum behind them, etc. And it's really easy to use. Here's a close-up of my embossing powder in those awesome containers with the clip-on spoons. You guys can find those on my blog. This takes up so much less space than the Ziploc containers that I had been using before. The wall as you come in, the angled wall, contains art from friends. I love it when I know the artist that made a painting, and this wall features a local Austin artist with the little girl and the monster. And then Patty Backer's paintings at the top and on the left. And then below that is an awesome painting, which is actually 4 little paintings by Sunny Carvalho. My sister also suggested that I put a mirror just over the door, the entrance, to also capture some of the light from the window because it's opposite the window, and I did that too. Now, the most commonly asked question is, what's in all those drawers? So I'll quickly take you through this. I'll open each drawer and show you what's in there. All my distress inks fit in one drawer, so that should give you an idea of how big these drawers are. Clear blocks, tapes and glues, my current catalogs, as well as address stickers for the back. My stamp cleaners, and I'll talk more about these in the post. My liquid stamp cleaning products. The plastic polish for my Misty, some used rags, which I tend to use over and over and over again, as well as non-Stampin' Up! Ink pads. My scissor drawer, I have a lot of scissors. This is a drawer with miscellaneous tools. It has scissor sharpener spoons that I use to re-ink my ink pad, and a couple little other random things. This is all sorts of cutting tools. It's all my craft knife type things, as well as some rotary cutters. This is labels. So the labels you see on top, they're from Japan. Those are the ones I use to mark my stamps with. But there are other labels that I use super frequently, and those are all in this drawer where I can get them easily. Just turn around from my desk. This is all my piercing mats and piercers. This drawer contains all my bone folders, as well as various styluses and my pickup tools, as well as my dental floss and some other little lifesavers that I use every day. This contains USBs, cords, chargers, and earbuds. This is drawer number 1 of Post-it notes, drawer number 2 of Post-it notes, and drawer number 3 of Post-it notes. In case you hadn't noticed, I like Post-it notes. This drawer contains office-style pens, so not art pens, as well as highlighters. I think we're all addicted to pens. I don't think I need to talk about that here. This is drawer number 1 of washi tape, and this is drawer number 2 of washi tape. Splotchy is helping me inspect the drawer that contains my air cans. I love air cans. I don't dust typically, but I do in my office like to blow surfaces off with these. When you are cutting paper every day, you get quite a bit of dust in your room, and I find that these air cans really can clean up quickly. I wouldn't recommend pointing them in a container full of glitter though. Ask me how I know. And then I have a drawer of beautiful colored staples and staplers. Now you can see there's also a teeny drawer unit on top of my drawer unit. I know you're seeing the drawer theme by now. And I purchased this at Uncommon Goods in Austin. I love it. It has one little handle broken, but it's so cute and it's the perfect color. On top of that sits a few things that I just love. I have an original by Susie Blue. I have a vintage ashtray that I use for a watercolor water bowl on the left. I have my Maddie stamp that I designed for a fundraiser. And then I have the Bluebird of Happiness, which I adore. And on the left, I have 2 vintage stamp holders that I bought on Etsy. They're both adorable. One holds my larger rotary stamps, and the other one holds smaller ones. I think it just gives kind of a fun look back to the history of stamping. I don't have much in these little drawers, but there are a few drawers that are in use so far. And one of them holds all my paper clips, although I find that I don't really use paper clips that much anymore, so that might go away eventually. And then I have a drawer full of used gift cards, like Starbucks gift cards, and then expired credit cards, because I use these to spread acrylic paint. So these are on the side right next to my desk, and I use this drawer frequently. Then I have a little vintage Sears hardware cabinet that came from my husband's uncle's house. And on top of that sits a beautiful sculpture from an artist in Santa Fe. This thing weighs like 55 pounds, even though it's only 4 inches wide. But it's just a sweet little bunny, and I love it. Behind that sits a hand mosaicked, iridescent Kleenex box that's made out of plaster. It's also pretty heavy. I thought this thing was gorgeous. I also found that on Etsy, I think. I'll have to look. So that's the tour. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're thinking about remodeling your room, I encourage you to be brave, empty the room just like they do on Trading Spaces, and maybe even use some of the tips that I've given you. I found throughout this process that one of the things that was dysfunctional in my old room was that all the containers that I had were very, very large. When you have a very large container, it tends to collect unrelated things because you don't have a lot of everything. Usually with craft supplies, the supplies are small and they need their own space. And so this has taught me that a lot of small drawers is way better than a few really big storage solutions. So think small, group your stuff together when you empty the room, and I think you'll come out with a result that you really, really like. So thank you so much for watching.